Hey guys, welcome to the Heart of David. Hope you guys are doing well wherever you are in the world. I have a bunch of topics I want to discuss today, and the first one is what is going to happen after that attack in Ukraine. And usually I don't try. I try to make this about God, and it is, right? Everything we're seeing does have to do with God. I also want to share a couple things that, especially one thing that I think you've probably never heard before, and I'm just going to briefly touch on it because I'm going to make a video tonight about this, just reacting to someone's video. And I'll give my commentary throughout it. It's only about a 12-minute video, but it I didn't recognize I haven't had enough time to look to see that the Psalms and the book of Job, from the brief video that I saw, because I understand the book of Job because I've read it several times, but the numbers that are in there mean something. And the structure, there are 42 chapters, 42 months. So you already get an idea, kind of, right? Those numbers mean something in the book of Job. And what else did I want to talk about? Father's house is not a house of merchandise. I don't know if I can remember all these things, and then the thing I've been going through and what God has done for me. So as you see, I have not been doing that well. And guys, this is, I pray to God that this doesn't keep happening, and I find myself in quite stressful but wanted situations. Like, I'm going to school. I'm in personal support, working at school, studying, right? But I'm still doing all the studying and the work, and volunteering, and now doing another volunteering thing, which I'll talk about, and university, on top of all the things that I have to do with all my pain disorders already. Takes up a lot of my life. The things that I have to do, I have to work out, I have to walk and stuff, and keep up my meds and do all those types of things. But I just wanted to, I get comments every once in a while, and I don't mean anything by this, by you who said this by email. I don't want to say your name over this, but so maybe you don't want that. But I get comments on my videos saying, maybe you just need some more food, or looks like you're not getting enough calories and stuff. I just wanted to say, for the people who usually watch my videos, guys, so I get chronic kidney stones, and it's not because I'm eating the wrong foods. I only have a certain selection of foods because I have kidney stones. I have the splenic flexure syndrome, which would destroy a single person's life. So kidney stones, the splenic flexure syndrome. I have gallbladder hyperkinesia, and that will never go away. And they will not take my gallbladder out here in Canada. So it's like having a gallstone all the time, but I'm medicated, and I have severe adhesions on my abdomen. So I'm lactose intolerant, I'm celiac sensitive. I touch those things, I become incredibly restless. This is why I've lost the weight. So, just so you know, I go through hell, but I have the Lord. I have the Lord, and the Lord has helped me work through these issues. And I couldn't make as many videos as I do if I didn't do videos while I'm having a kidney stone. So what I mean is, what does it mean to have a kidney stone? It just means I have the colic. It just means it's trying to move. And but I'm going to get into that. It does have to do with God. So what was I going to talk about first? Just let me take a sip here. And this is why you see me eating these oranges and eating while I'm doing these videos. So I have to put food on my stomach. It gets very upset. Doesn't mean I eat all day, but I have to eat frequent meals. Very difficult balance of life. So when you look and you see that attack, and oh, you know, I wanted to say this first. Sorry, guys. I just saw something that might interest you. My grandfather, who I knew, he died when I was 12 years old, and he never talked about war. He never talked about those things. But he was on the first wave of Juno Beach in Normandy. And just seeing a letter here from, that would be my great-grandmother, about how he was leading a troop of German prisoners down Juno Beach. One lifelong Mountain Grove friend, Ken Hartwick. Can you imagine that, being on Juno Beach? You're a sergeant. He was in the Canadian Demolition Engineers, quite a place to be, and leading prisoners on the beach, and then you see your friend. Not only that, later that day he saw his brother, and he fought all the way to Germany. And anyways, I don't want to get into too much of this, but one of my great uncles, which is my grandpa's brother, was killed in Italy with an 88 anti-tank gun. It's really anti-aircraft, but they turned it down to anti-personnel, anti-tank. Just wanted to share that, just because my dad sent that. I'm sure you see what has happened in Ukraine, right? Or sorry, the attack that Ukraine did on Russia. I don't usually like to give my opinion on things, and there's a lot of propaganda going out around, and it's not good to stay in this propaganda. And it's no different with every other news story. You know what? I'm doing my work, or whatever I'm doing. I do a lot of reading, and I'll go to flip over through screens, but by mistake I'll hit the news. And when I hit the bad stories, it's just one after the other. That's all that this world is now. It's so easy to get caught in that. And this will be part of the Great Deception. It's just, I can't be certain about that. I think the Great Deception is probably specific, but just in general, there is deception around the world. Don't get lost in it. Find something else to do. It doesn't mean don't keep up with general news stories, but do what you want, right? I know what wasn't helping me, and it was staying in those stories. But still, it's, we're in the body of Christ. We're watching. You and I were chosen to be, think of all the generations from Adam to now. How many have there been? A lot. Hundreds. It was over, I don't think it's over 1,000, but I don't know. Don't take me on the math. It's a lot. Let's just say there are 500 generations or something. We are the one that are chosen to be in this one. That is a great honor. But we're gonna get our heads chopped off. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna pretend to know exactly. No matter what happened, there's always been a struggle with what government are we going to put beside Russia. But this is Ukraine. This is its own country, right? And it was recognized, and they even had their own nuclear weapons, and they made a deal with Russia that they would never attack them. Just give us back our nukes, right? And that's what they did, and this is what they've done. Crimea, 2014 in this. And so what the consensus is no matter what political wars were going on in the country. You have no right to start lobbing cruise missiles and drones at civilians and infrastructure. You have no right, and that's what I do believe. You have no right to do that. You're killing a lot of people, and he won't accept any terms, any change. It's all for him, Putin. I mean, he won't accept any concessions, and he just keeps drawing and drawing and drawing out. And then obviously the Antichrist, Donald Trump, had enough. I don't know if he okayed the attack, but if you saw the attack, they're saying it was only like 10 planes. These are very imperative planes to the Russian army. Even 10 is a huge loss. These were the strategic nuclear bombers. And man, from one video I saw, I will attach it in the link for you to see. It was from Valuetainment. They have the one that really shows the extent of it. I think it was 117 drones, but it looks like a battlefield in World War I, where you just see constant. You know, there were I think there were like 6 or 7 or 8 pound charges for each one, big enough to cause harm. And anyway, so those are nuclear bombers. And so that was very sophisticated. And obviously it was an inside job in some areas, but I don't know. I think it was kind of understood that you don't do that. That really is not propaganda. This is my red line. That's really a red line. And I think to myself, but is it? You're killing people. You're a murderer. This is war. Just think of how many dead families in Ukraine that just want revenge. This is the cyclical nature of war, and this is the only reason that the only person who can fix it is Jesus Christ, except for the Antichrist, who will for a very short time. The Antichrist, Donald Trump, was born on a rare blood moon in 1946 on June 4th. June 6th, sorry, I'm getting a date in my mind mixed up. So what's going to happen? You can only take so many guesses. I don't know. I think it's a good thing that Trump, the Antichrist, had to speak to him on the phone, because he's trying to avert a nuclear device. And when we look in the book of Revelation, and when you look in Zechariah, I don't know. There are many verses that pertain to what could be nuclear weapons. There's going to be wars, and yeah, I do believe one's going to happen. And do you think of wars like this and what's coming upon this earth, do you think a nuclear weapon is not going to be used? Just look what's happened. Iran is trying to get a nuclear weapon. I believe they have probably at least 5 by now. They're at that stage right now where they know they have it. They have all the fuel now. So they always have people on the inside that know how much there is, and I don't know how much of it I buy, but I'm pretty sure that they have it. Like they have a bomb now. So that's just them. They want to destroy Israel. They want to destroy America. They probably have the technology to do it. Never know about North Korea. Then look, what's the response to this? Is it going to be a nuclear strike? And then you look at India and Pakistan, and we're teetering right on the edge of maybe multiple nuclear exchanges. This is what Jesus Christ told us was coming. Like, wow. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Pardon me, I'm still suffering with this kidney stone. It feels like a nail in my stomach. I'm not kidding. It's because I try to stay still. So you can only guess. I do think that they are absolutely, you have this, whatever his name, Douglas McGregor. I think that's just propaganda. and they don't know, Ukraine is going to fold and this and no, because the West has them, and I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Is there going to be a peace? But if I were to take a guess, I would say he would maybe use as many hypersonic missiles as he has to try to take out their Air Force, and also do something else. I could see him trying to take out as much of a city as he could. I believe Putin has the ability to do so much more. He has like Moab's mother of all bombs. He has things like that. He has cluster munitions. And this, I just want to tell you what I just imagined, because I've been interested in war all my life, but of course I don't like war. So I'm just going to stop there. And if I get that right, then I'm a prophet from God, right? And I can speak to you. And yeah. So what did I want to talk about next? And give me a second again, because I got to put food on my stomach. I just wanted to say this, and I can't make separate videos for all the things I want to talk about, of different varieties of things I want to talk about. It's just my stance on people who make Christian YouTube channels and choose to make a store out of it. At one point, like when I first started, I'm like, hey, if I get to 1,000, I'll put a donation link, and I will give that money to people who really need it. And I won't go around and drag a camera and make myself look good and stuff like that. I'm not saying I'm good. That's not what I'm saying. Here's my point. I finally came to the point where I realized, hey, there are people out there who are poor, but they love God so much that they're preaching, and God is providing for them. That's what I believe. But otherwise, there are people who, in their heart, they want to they're making, I mean, it couldn't be any clearer, but they will try to find verses and chapters of people trying to make, trying to justify that they're making a business out of it. And Jesus said, this is one of, I showed this in a video on Jesus of Nazareth. It was his righteous anger. You have made the house of my father a house of prayer, a house of merchandise. I watch channels still that have their books behind them and stuff like that, and I just say, why don't you make a store somewhere else? Again, I'm not saying I'm good. It's just I don't know. That bothers me personally, because I know it's completely unscriptural, and it's the lust of people's hearts that are justifying themselves inside why I am doing this. And I'm going to come after you with verses against that. And to be honest, if I lost what I had, I would do the same thing. Because I do believe God would provide. Yeah. Job. There are more than a couple places in the Bible that, I think everyone in the body of Christ identifies with someone in the Bible, and for me it's David. And why? Because of betrayals of people lifted up their heel against me, that type of thing. I mean, that's happened in my life. It's happened to a lot of you too. And just all the battles he had to go through. But Job, because of the physical things that I suffer with. And, I don't even know what point I was getting at. It's really hard to put thoughts together when you have so much abdominal pain. When I move, I feel better. I wanted to give you a story of, you know, the other day how I was like I couldn't breathe, and it's because of this kidney stone. But I want to give you a story of how God works in my life. And sorry guys, remember I told you about the numbers that I see? 233. How God works in my life, I look over, it's 233. I told you the number is 33. Whether you believe that or not, I don't try to make it a thing. I think I'm not going to make it further than that. How God works in my life, the riches of God are unsearchable. Yeah, I wanted to say this. I was walking last night, and I'm going to tell you a story. I was walking last night, and I thought, because just before I had gone out, I saw a video, just the title of a video. What was God doing before he made us? And as I was walking, I'm like thinking about it, and I'm sure a lot of us have thought about that, right? And you know, the question is, did he know a gazillion years ago, a quadrillion years ago, that he was going to make us? Of course he did. But then I started to think even further. God isn't an expanding thing. He isn't a square or a circle that you and I can measure. And this is where people just have trouble understanding. God always just was. There's no such thing as time. To him, he made time for us. Right? 7,000 years, right? He made time and put us on a timeline, and it's just like an algorithm, right? For everything we do, I'm not saying we're robots, but every action we do, this and that, and God does put things in our life, but how lucky we are. It just makes me angry that people complain. What if you had a bad God? Just think about that. One that wants to punish you all the time. God could choose to burn you, to crush you, to do all these things. And the person talking to you suffers with a lot of physical pain. You would call it chronic acute pain. And I'm not complaining because I know the love of God. I know the good things that he has done in my life and your life. I know your story better. No, I'm just kidding. I know it could be so much worse, but people still want to complain. So I'm just going to tell you, I think God was working my life in this manner. I'll tell you, I got a pace again. And then I'm going to stop this video. During these videos, guys, I'm trying to work through irritability, agitation, breathlessness because of kidney stones, and it's not just that. It's not just that. I feel like I feel like I'm going nuts. That splenic flexure syndrome, it pushes up into my transverse colon. So your colon, like the colon that goes across, it goes up a bit and then goes down to the descending colon. My colon goes boom, like right up like that. And when I get a kidney stone, it gets even worse. So it feels like there's like a crowbar in my abdomen. That's what it's like. Take a sip of water and I'll tell you a story. Trying to stay in a video in this in this. It can be excruciating. Trying to stay still while you have this much abdominal pain. Wow. I'm a recovery coach. Okay, I earned my certification. I did all the training. And I also became and I don't want to give the information for this, but I became it's also another certification to do meetings for addiction, a certain specific type. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm in PSW school and addictions counseling school as well. And obviously I'm working towards something. And I'm used to helping people and doing all that type of stuff. You know, I've done that for, I'm not going to say my whole life, but you know, we all, if you're born again, you know you love helping people with a good heart. And so I earned this new certification. And then I thought, okay, you know, just attend some of these meetings and see how it goes. And so I attended a meeting, and I'm like, okay, you know, I don't want to stand up like here all the time. And you know, I tried it with my camera on. I'm like, wow, you know, okay, I'll turn the camera on, camera off, because you know, you don't want to be in the picture. You don't want to be, you're writhing. It's not comfortable. And so I did have a kidney stone before this, but not to this degree. I was so stressed because I earned this certification. Now I can give meetings. I was going into the meetings and I look how many participants there are, and there's like 150 participants in a single meeting. And I'm like trying to practice, you know, they're like, does anyone want to share? I start sharing. And I had a kidney stone, so it became even harder. And my voice was shaking, but it just happened to be at a really bad point. I'm like, okay, sit in the chair when you're doing it. It'll take, you know, weight off your abdomen. You'll feel better, which I did. I started to become so stressed about, hey, if in a meeting and I'm just attending someone else's meeting, that I'm this shaky, how the heck am I going to be able to do this? And guys, it started to stress me out so much. Face to face in person, I'm good with people, but when it comes to like having to stay still, like in a screen and all that, man, it's very difficult. So I became very I don't know what the word is right now, kind of distraught, and that I felt weak. I really did. But I also knew that the things that I was suffering with makes it very difficult to do that, but I felt weak. So I said to myself, this is taking a toll on my health just thinking about this, because by doing these meetings I earn my practicum placement. So when I go to do my placement for addictions counseling, those hours that I'm conducting these meetings on my own can count towards that. Not fully, but it can count for about 100 hours, 150 hours anyways. And I came to the point after about 3 days that I said, I can't do this. The more I think about this, the more my stress in my kidney stone is getting worse. It really is a bad kidney stone this time. And I realized that I had it before I even went in there. It just amplified what I was going through. And guys, I'm selling candles door to door in 80 degrees and 90 degrees too. So, so I said, I can't do this. I got to take the stress off me. You can't do groups. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. Your health is worth more to you. So yesterday, so I had no intention of doing a group, at least for a long time. I earned my certification. I know how to teach people how to do this. Good enough. You know, unless in person, of course, I could do it. And so yesterday, with no intention, I got an email, and it had to do with my school, and they made a mistake. And this mistake, they're saying your balance on your thing is $12,000 American dollars. And I'm like, you know, I'm not even done this year of school. Why are you being forceful with me? And I called them, and they made a mistake, but I thought they meant the balance for the next year, which is soon. But it doesn't work like that there. But I'm like, okay, I have to go into my OSAP and to look at the date that I'm getting this, you know, this, because part of the money for my university is by financial assistance, right? OSAP or whatever you have in the United States, and then some out of pocket, and so I started looking through my OSAP, like logging in, and they're like, you know, I couldn't get an answer there, and they're like, you have to go here. And I started going in one window and out the next, and even though I had signed up for these things, they're like, oh, you know, as of whatever date, you have to sign up for this now. And I'm getting so frustrated, and it's time for me to leave. But I'm like, I gotta do this. So I stayed, instead of going out and selling my candles, I stayed for an extra hour to figure out what was going on. That's very tough for me, because I eat, and I sit around for an hour, and I study, and I take my meds for like my colic and my pain, and I gotta go for a walk to get all this stress out of me. And so it was very frustrating. I couldn't really get to an answer. And then an email came in, and it was so I guess in these meetings, when someone sees my meeting name or whatever, it also provides an email. They can reach out to me. And I canceled this meeting. Got a pace. I canceled the meeting because, like I said, I couldn't go, but it was still up for some reason. You can see how much difficulty I'm having. It's because of my abdomen. I had no intention, and I felt sorry for this person, and I told them, you know, I feel sick, I can't do this, and sorry. And I thought, here I am right now. I'm really uncomfortable. It's not going to get any worse than this. I actually feel ready to do it. And so I emailed the people who run this headquarters, okay? Because you have to email them to set up meetings and do that type of stuff. And I'm like, can you please reverse this and put it for whatever time? And they did. And this is all I have to, I know that's a long story, but I feel like I got that email from that guy, and it was a mistake because I phoned them today, and they said, sorry about that. We didn't mean to send that. It was as if God did that, and then someone emailed me from that, someone who wanted to join the group. And for some reason, I was ready at that moment. And for the next few hours, because I don't know, it was like 5 o'clock, and I set it for maybe like 8 o'clock or something. And so I went out, and I went out on my bike, and I took a ride, and then I also took a walk, and came back, and you know, I was nervous, really, really nervous. Imagine doing this with a kidney stone, okay? And all those things, other things I talk about, my abdomen, not to mention the intractable pain I have in my body. I was really nervous. I was really nervous. I knew that if I didn't have this abdominal pain, I could do it. I've had to do so many things despite my pain in my life. And God helped push me through it. And, his anxiety was building up, because I have trauma. I suffer with trauma. And I have autism. And, I do have a social anxiety to a degree. If you saw me, you wouldn't think so in person, but I do. And so it's getting closer and closer. I'd feel good and I wouldn't feel good. And I just said, Lord of heaven, please strengthen me in this. Please strengthen me in this. And what I did was I took this. This is why you should be faithful in all things. Through all pains and all miseries and all things, whatever it is, pray to the Most High for whatever it is. I'm like, right up to the last 5 minutes, I'm praying. And so I put this, this Jesus, this is one time that I really needed an idol. To have his picture, and I put it beside there, started the meeting, and it went just fine. It was just fine. In fact, it went better than I thought. And after that, I already knew I can help people in an addictions capacity. But, there's like 10 people in the group, but there could have been 100, there could have been 1,000. And then I realized during that meeting it didn't matter. Whatever it is you're going through, prayers and supplications for everything. I don't care what it is. You're having trouble, and I don't mean for gain, unless it's something you really need. Whatever, right? I'm just going to finish there because now I have to speak to my doctor. So I appreciate you guys watching this video. I hope I didn't leave anything out, but with prayers and supplication,